What up, guys, and welcome to the show. Today what I've got for you is a flip land combo deck mono black tier list guide style thing. Now, all the tier lists that I've been watching online take 25 minutes to go over 14 key points. What I'm going to try to do is go through each one of these decks real quick and give you an overview. But first, let me go over the regulations. Some of the stuff I'm going to talk about in this video, none of it's based on stats, none of it's based on anything but how I feel about the meta and how I feel about each deck's consistency and power relation to, like, winning. For the past month, we've been going over flip land combo decks, or MDFC, Module Dual Faced Card Land. So dumb. Flip land combo deck mono black. That's what we're up to today. And with that out of the way, let's get into this short, concise guide, a tier list guide for all of my flip land combo decks. Let's check it out. So let's start out with the new GOAT, Birdie Alive Belcher BS. And so how I'm going to try to organize these is kind of the lands on the first row, the ramp on the second, the key combo pieces that you mulligan for on the third row, the puzzle pieces on the fourth, and then just whatever. And it's not going to be strict, but that's kind of how I was thinking about when I compiled these. So first off, looking at the land base, we've got 12 mana sources in our lands and 4 in our moxes, so 16 total. Kind of a thin list, but usually you can get to 2 land by turn 2. Because if you get to 2 land by turn 2, you're casting Spy Belcher, and then you're waiting on luck to go off with Spy Belcher. You know, ramp, something else. And I'm not going to go over the lands anymore after this. I just wanted a quick touch on that. Then, yeah, you've got your Dark Ritual in your sacrifice. It's a 40% chance to get Dark Ritual in each mulligan, and it's a 15% chance to get both Grief and Sacrifice in any mulligan. So your chances of getting ramp there, you know, right around 50-55%. And again, all of the ramp is just like this, so I'm not going to go ahead and describe it in each one of these decks. Then we get to the third row, and that's where we mulligan to. So we're mulliganing for Buried Alive, Creations, or Spy Belcher with a bunch of ramp. It's basically a combo deck. Do you have 3 mana sources and a Belcher with a ramp? Kind of rare. It's kind of one of those long shot odds. But then you've got the Creation play, which is just Ritual and Creation with Atraxa in your deck still. So that's the most common one, and that'll win you the game all of the time. It's just a really strong combo because, number 1, it increases your deck's odds of popping off, and number 2, you win on turn 3, and that's show and tell pace. So it's a good, reliable combo. The Creations play, Atraxa hits the board, you get Sacrifice Belcher, you've got mana up. So I'm not going to describe that combo anywhere else in the video, but that's basically what the Belcher Sac combo is. And finally, you've got your Buried Alive. That's where we got our Phoenix play and all of our puzzle pieces for. And then you'll see in column 4, we've got Surgical, Noxious, and 2 Once Upon a Times. 10 free cards to go off with birds. Also, Demonic Tutor is a free spell because you go Dark Ritual, Demonic Tutor, Dark Ritual again, Buried Alive. Also, you got that nasty Reanimate in there for when you Buried Alive and put Atraxa in. So the strong points to this deck is that it has Surgical Extraction in there, so it kind of plays off of other combo decks. Someone's trying to go off with Spy, just take out their Creeping Chills, none of their dudes are going to come back, so it does have a lot of play. So the last thing that I'll mention about all the combo decks on this tier list is column number 3. Basically, if it's in this column, it's going to count some level towards the overall consistency of the deck. If you have 8 cards and it's a super reliable combo to get it after that, your deck is going to feel really consistent. So we've got the 8 cards with Buried Alive and Creations. You might say, well, Spy Belcher's in there too. We don't really have enough lands and enough ramp to reliably get Spy Belcher wins out there, so it's kind of a more niche combo. I would count this as maybe 10 cards towards that column. So when we're talking about consistency, this is the column that we're talking about. However, column 4, those are the puzzle pieces. So you've got your activators in column 3, the things that you mulligan for, and then you just kind of hope that you have enough of your puzzle pieces. So this deck, overall consistency, about a 10. So if ever you wanted to smash birds on turn 1 or try for some Atraxa Sac Spy Belcher play, I think this is the deck for you. And that is why we are putting... It's already up there, okay. And that's why we're putting Birdie Alive Belcher Sac in S tier. Next deck we're going to talk about Bird Spy combo, the old classic. So what is there to say about Bird Spy combo? Well, there's kind of 2 different variations you can run of it. The one that I like to run includes Thassa's Oracle, so if you just have to hardcast Spy and you have 2 mana, you can still win the game in like a longer kind of grindy game, especially against energy. You'll see we've only got 2 cards in the combo place, that's 8, so you're going to need to mulligan really aggressively. You're going to need to know your deck with this version. We've also only got 11 activators with our surgicals and Once Upon a Times and everything like that, and we're a little bit low on land. But with the Noxious Revival being able to get back Dark Rituals or anything they thought seized, you're going to be having a good time with this deck. You really need to know your percentages, and you really need to know how to mulligan with this deck. I would say that this is one of the more complicated ones to play, but also one of the best. And this is one of the faster combos out there. This deck goes off on turn 1 and wins the game on turn 1. Not super reliably, but it does happen, and those times that it does, it really makes the difference. And that's why I'm going to place Bird Spy combo in S tier, right behind Birdie Alive Belcher Sack. Talking about one-turn combo decks, we've got Reanimator Belcher Sack. So Reanimator Belcher Sack is one of those decks that has super reliable turn 1 combos. So I've got this one with an extra row in here because it's got 2 different sets of activators, which throws off the consistency calculations that we like to talk about. But I did investigate the math previously, and I think these are the right ratios. This is the one I took to rank 1 and took it to the ladder and raced it as soon as I'd made it. No practice, it just hit rank 1. So let's talk about it. There's enough room for the correct number of lands, we've got the same ramp as usual, and then we've got 10 self-discard effects. And these self-discard effects are going to go crazy with creations, because you get creations out on turn 1, turn 2, you Thoughtseize or Collective Brutality or Divest or even Grief. You see we've got Grief on the far right. But basically you have 10 discard effects on yourself. You have 14 total discard effects, which is a ridiculous amount. So you've got 10 self-discard, you've got 8 creatures to discard with. They're all black, so they all pitch to Chrome Mox, they all pitch to Grief, all the lands pitch to Chrome Mox and Grief. Now, as far as consistency goes, I'd say it's pretty average. I'm not 100% sure on all of the math, but it felt pretty average when I was running it, and I think I ran these percentages before, and it was very similar to like 10 combo piece in column 3 sort of thing. And then when you put creations into the mix, consistency goes through the roof in any deck, so this one is just going to be super consistent. It also has the Char Belcher play. There's just so many combos. And even if you brick on your combos, you have hand hate, and hand hate is the best thing to have in this meta. I think this deck is super good because it has really lethal turn 1s. So for example, all you need is a Mox, a self-discard like Divest, and Reanimate. You get Atraxa or Valgavath in play on turn 1. Super consistently. That is the most broken thing in the game, considering when Atraxa hits the field, you have a pretty good chance to continue comboing off and winning the game. I can't stop talking about how much I love this effing deck. It's not hard to play, it's super simple, discard a big creature, reanimate a big creature. You didn't find that? Creations of Avacyn, crazy good with this deck specifically because you have so many discard effects. 14 opponent hand hate cards if you count Divest. Divest will hit Mox, Divest will hit their Atraxa or big creature that you can reanimate, Divest will hit Char Belcher. Turn 1 creations, if you use Sacrifice, you get Thoughtseize. Now your turn 2 is super reliably going to be some form of hand hate on them. So they've got to dodge the hand hate on turn 2 as well. Even with Divest against Energy, you take out Juggernaut Peddler, you take Energy Raptor, super critical cards. It's hard to find anything bad to say about this deck, and the only thing that I can think to say is that I haven't tested it enough to really say it's better than Bird Spy combo. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this mother effer in S tier as well, but just to the right of Bird Spy combo. With more testing, I might say this is the best deck in the format, but we'll get there when we get there. For now though, let's look at Budget Spy Belcher. This deck can start as low as 14 rares and 12 mythics to craft. The perfect starter deck for mono black flip land combo decks in Timeless. So starting with the lands, you'll notice we've got normal mana base, then we go to the ramp, we've got the normal ramp, and then we've got the column 3, which is your consistency check. We've got creations and spy. Consistency check complete. We've got the bonus sweetener of having Belcher in there, and we have 1 Dirge. Dirge is 3 options. Option 1, 5 mana, find spy in your deck, put it into your graveyard, then put spy into play. Just a spy activator if you have 5 mana. Also what it is 3 mana, just an Entomb. And then a 4 mana is just reanimate a small dude, like Thassa's Oracle or Spy. I'm only using it as a 1 of. The cheaper versions will be using it as a 4 of. Super simple deck, do anything to get Spy into play. Once Spy's into play, you're probably going to win the game. This version is going to be running Prized Amalgam and Silver Ghoul as 5 hitters that come back with Spy, but the cheaper versions won't be using the Amalgams, and it'll only use like 4 Ghouls. So that's where you'll start, but this is where you'll end up if you want to keep this deck going. Now this is the deck I built on my Smurf account, and I hit Mythic yesterday or the day before, and I hit it into the numbers right away. So it's a top deck. I know it's a top deck because I played it starting with the 14 rare 12 mythic version, and then just upgrading it over the course of like a week and casually playing, 10, 15 matches a day here and there. I plowed through the ranks, I played nothing else, and I hit the numbers with this deck. I'll link a few versions of this one below, but basically, yeah, I think this is a great entry-level starter deck to the format, and I think it's a top deck. So we're going to go ahead and put it into A tier. 2 decks we've got from Frank Dooley. He's the one who originally discovered the Creations, Atraxa, Sacrifice, Belcher combo. And it just so happens to work with Spy and Reanimate as well. So even if they have Leyline, or you think they might have Veil of Summer or whatever, now you can go the Spy route when you get your Atraxa out there. Looking at the deck quick, we've got the typical land base, we've got the typical ramp base, and then looking at column 3 for the consistency check, we've got the Sorin, but that's kind of like half a card because you also need to find the Elenda, so maybe count that as a 2. Count the Char Belcher as a 2. You've got the Creations and Spy, so that's 8, 2, 2, that's 12. The 12 consistency rank here is really special, because if you look on the right side here, we've also got Leyline of Sanctity, and this is going to help you immensely in those matchups where you go second, and they have Thoughtseize or Grief on turn 1, because everyone is running that right now. Alternatively, you can drop the ley lines, you could drop 1 land and put the 4th ley line in, or just drop all the ley lines and go with Thoughtseize yourself. Thoughtseizing them on turn 1 is a great play. Thoughtseizing yourself on turn 1 for, getting Spy into play with Reanimate. So in this deck, one thing you have to notice is that there's no hitters that go along with the Spy. There's no Creeping Chills, there's no Ghouls, there's nothing that comes back with Spy. You just poop your deck into your graveyard. How does that win? Well, you still got the Thassa's Oracle play. So if you're playing against Energy, chances are they don't have any graveyard hate, they don't have any counter spells, so your hand's empty, they can't Thoughtseize you, and then at the end of your turn, you turn the Earth, Jack-o'-lantern combo, and then you get Reanimate back, Reanimate Thassa's Oracle with no cards in your deck, win the game. The only thing is that you need at least 2 mana to do that, but that's your alternate win condition. Oracle, Lantern, turn the Earth, plus the Spy. So it's a 7-card combo. If you look at how many cards are required for the Atraxa combo, that's only 9, right? Belcher, Sacrifice, Atraxa. And you're using Sacrifice anyway, but it does require you to play around that 2 mana minimum Spy play. So you're not just slamming Dark Ritual, Soar, and Spy if you don't have additional ramp or some other ways to handle that. The last thing to mention about this deck is that, the Soar and Elenda play pops off. It's my opinion that it's not the best combo. It does win a lot of the time because just a Swords beats you, just a Prison beats you. A lot of things just beat you when you just go Soar and Elenda. Overall, it's super consistent. It's got Leyline of Sanctity. If you don't even like Leyline, just switch it out for Thoughtseize. You'll get Thoughtseize plays all the time too. It's just a really balanced, great deck for Timeless right now. So I'm going to go ahead and place Janky Spy Belcher at the bottom of S tier, with the caveat of saying that all of these decks in the S tier are super close to each other, and this is all based off of feeling instead of actual data. And that brings us to our last 2 decks, Necro Belcher Sack and Spy Elenda. So let's talk about Frank's Necro Belcher Sack first. This deck appears to be improperly tuned right now, so I can't really give it a super fair rating. It's kind of a fixer-upper. You can see on the left it's got the typical number of lands, it's got typical ramp. So the consistency of this deck can be boiled down to 4 for Creations, 6 for Necro Dominance, and then 2 for Sorin and Belcher. So that would be a consistency rating of 14 cards. Super consistent to find. The only thing is after you get your Necropotence down, being able to find the win off of that on turn 2 is less reliable than you think. However, because the combo pieces are so small here, you can fit Leyline of Sanctity in there. It's definitely a fixer-upper, but it's super consistent. So where it is now, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the B tier. It stacks up with the meta. It does fine in my testings. It wins enough, but it's definitely tricky to play, and it doesn't feel like it hits it enough. It feels like it needs something else. Also, just the fact that it's a Necro dominance deck, F that. I don't want to click 14 times to try to win. I'm trying to click 3 or 4 times here, win the game. You know, that's the goal. And that brings us to the forgotten deck, Spy Elenda. Now this one had some popularity in best of 3, so let's take a look at it and see what makes it strong. So starting on the left, you'll see we're kind of light on lands. We've got the typical ramp in column 2. And then for our consistency check, we've basically got 8 cards. However, you still have the Thoughtseize yourself, Reanimate yourself sort of play, so there is some consistency help in that, but not a whole lot. I would put this at a consistency rating of 10. Why don't I think this deck is very good compared to the top decks? It's just because you've got low lands, a low consistency rating. When you have the Spy play, you're probably going to win the game, but you're not getting it every game. This one's basically really simple, pretty consistent. Try to find Spy, get Spy into play. If you don't hit it, you got the Saint Elenda play, but the thing is with the Thoughtseize and the Grief there, it kind of backs up the Saint Elenda play. Also, it's got the 5 hitters, so you're going to be just fine there, just slapping Spy down, Dark Ritual, Sorin, Spy, Sacrifice, Spy, Mox, Spy. These are the things that get the game going. Now this deck is super good, but because it's got the Elenda in there and because the consistency is a little bit down, I'm going to go ahead and put it right at the A tier, but like, here, let's look at Spy Belcher again, because that's what we're comparing it to, right? So Creations has to be equally as reliable as Sorin Elenda, right? Except it's more consistent. And also it has the Belcher combo in there. It's got the same number of hitters, it's just not running Sorin Elenda. In this nail-biting circumstance, they're the same. But if I had to pick one, I'm going with Spy Elenda at the top of A tier. So you'll notice a lot of these decks made it into S tier, and that's just because I don't really know how strong they compare to each other, but these are the decks that I would run if my life was on the line. Or I would start with Birdie Alive BS, I would then go to Bird Spy combo, and then I'd look at a Reanimator Belcher sack, and then I'd look at Frank's janky Spy Belcher. So in my opinion, this is where the list stands. I really hope you enjoyed.